Hello, random stranger. It is great to have you here again. I hope you're having a good morning, arvo, or evening. But even if it's been a bit don't worry, it's gonna get better because today we're gonna be watching K-On! Season 2, episodes 13 and 14. For some odd reason, quite a few comments on the last reaction predicted that I would especially enjoy episode 14, which has never happened before, where one episode has been so singled out by a bunch of you guys. So I'm gonna offer up my own prediction. It's probably going to be a very Mitsu centric episode, seeing as that is probably the one thing that I have ranted about the most throughout the entire series. So I'm very excited about the episodes that we have today, but episode 14, well, the mystery surrounding it has me very curious indeed. All right, let's get to some comment shout outs. And look, this pre reaction part is going to be pretty long. I suspect probably the longest ever that I've done for K-On! Because I have also put together for today a very special segment courtesy of a question asked by Slitherclaw. But you know where the timestamps are if you want to just jump straight to the reaction. Okay, first off, there were some really great observations about the girls and the things that we learnt about their characters in the previous episodes. So, in the hot episode, I was really taken by how, I think the way I put it was how Mugi had her hand in everything that was going on. And what I really wanted to say, and which was put so well by Zalova Id or ID, I hope I got that right, is this. So they wrote, Mugi is the kind of character that would fit with anyone. She can always switch gear depending on the people she interacts with. She can be serious, caring, childish, and dramatic. She always gets in the flow no matter what plot Ritsu or Yui makes. And yeah, that's it. That's the comment. Mugi is very fluid in terms of how she can immediately adapt to what's happening around her and who is happening around her. There was another great example of that quickness to adapt in the Summerfest episode when Mugi very tragically doesn't get to eat her yakisoba, but within seconds she's turned to Yui and she's like, well, at least we can make your dream come true, which was so sweet. And I mean, it didn't end up happening for Yui either, but Mugi is definitely best girl when it comes to rolling with any situation. If I had to venture a guess as to why she's like that, uh, it's probably a complex mix of reasons. One is her upbringing, and we've talked about this before, how if you grow up isolated, not just as an only child, but as the sole heir of a corporate empire, you don't really get to experience life as others do, nor do you really get to experience it with people. And so when Mugi does get the chance to do that, she just grabs it and just runs with it. It's like, I was thinking it's like Jasmine in Aladdin, where Mugi would have been incredibly pampered, but also maybe a little bit caged. Due to her sweet nature, though, I don't think she would have complained or outwardly rebelled as much. I think she would have just accepted that that's just the kind of life she was born into. But once she found a bunch of friends who she could be real with and who treat her not as some precious heiress to kowtow to or to bubble wrap and protect, but as family, it feels like a force of nature was released from that cage and is enthusiastically taking every opportunity to live life, especially plebeian life, to its fullest. And of course, another reason why Mugi is so adaptable is that she's just bloody intelligent. On a side note, though, I have wondered if Mugi was ever bullied or at least socially ostracized for her elevated socioeconomic status. Because sometimes we see her not realize that 99.99% of the population don't have a matching tea set with the Belgian royal family, for instance. But then there are other times when she's very cognizant of that difference and she tries very hard to hide it. Like when the girls used her holiday home as a practice retreat. Speaking of getting over things quick, Yui also has smidges of that quality in her as well. But it's very different to Mugi's in that she adapts quickly as long as there's something else shiny to distract her. For example, she is distracted from not getting to eat her food by a sudden phone call from Ritsu, and later she's making these mad faces at Mio for not coming back with any food, but she immediately forgets the second she joins everyone else in, raving over the t-shirts. On to Mio, the Summerfest episode. That was great for Mio. To quote from Ragashingo, my favorite part was Mio almost vibrating in place with anticipatory energy on the way to the festival. It's rare we get to see her want something in a happy way or for herself. She's always trying to keep the others in line, and usually her wants are for the others' benefit, so it was great to see her excited for what she wanted. Excellent point, and I'm always here for Mio dropping that sensible, responsible side of hers to free the other wild, music crazed, free spirited one. And I love that those two sides of her are both equally her. Tom Leete also put the transformation of Mio in a really cool way. So they wrote, the slow degradation of Mio's calm, cool exterior is just priceless. She's probably shy because she has never been comfortable with her own emotions, but through the course of episode 12, they just slowly build, and she lets them build. Big moment for Mio, being comfortable with letting her inner self out for all the world to see. And I really like the part about how Mio let her emotions build and then to show. If I may be so bold as to tack on a Mitsu angle here, I think Ritsu, out of everyone in Mio's life, is well aware of this duality in her, and she really takes joy in Mio letting her hair down like that. You could see it in all of the half smiley, like sideways glances that Ritsu gives Mio. Also, I've noticed whenever Mio does allow herself to let loose, she lets loose in a big way. And when that happens, Ritsu always tones down her own brand of crazy to kind of counterbalance Mio and to anchor her, just to keep her from spinning out of orbit. Next, is a great summary from Evan David about what the last two episodes did in terms of character development. They wrote, we get to explore the various interband relationships, as well as the girls' almost equally strong bond with Sawako in greater depth, while also hinting yet again at the girls' possible future. And yes, just to interject here, I am definitely developing a much greater appreciation for how Sawako embraces her role of mentor in this really eccentric and comedic but also intensely personal way. Even though, there is a huge perk for her in that she gains access to all of Mugi's expensive teas and cakes. So continuing with the comment, with Yui's ironclad optimism ultimately once again coming to the fore and even managing to convince the relatively ever-grounded Ritsu that the girl's wildest rock and roll dreams might actually be possible. After all, if bands like the Rolling Stones can still keep playing together until their 70s, then why not the K-On! Girls? Huge amen to that. Wherever the sequel mangas stop at, I don't really know, but there's just no way that these girls don't keep playing together until they are old and grey. Because at this point, it feels like they share the same soul. So continuing on the theme of digging really deep beneath the surface of who these girls are, we have arrived at the segment. So Slitherclaw, who is also Ravenclaw but also part Slytherin, in the comments asked a brilliant question that I realized I've been dying for someone to ask me. The question is fairly simple. It is, which Hogwarts house do you think each of the K-On! Girls would belong to? So prepare yourselves for K-On! Lecture 103, the unofficial sorting ceremony of the Hokako Tea Time Club members. Now, if you're really not into Harry Potter and that universe, please feel free to skip this part. But I think even if you've never read the books or never watched any of the movies, you may just find this interesting in that it's a different lens through which to understand what drives the girls as well as their relationships with each other. All right, I think we are set. Oh no, wait, we are missing something. Just give me a few seconds. I think I've got it somewhere. Aha! Here's the sorting hat. Okay, yes, this is what. Wait, can I wear it? Alright, no, that's not gonna work. Is it? No. Alright, you know what? You can just sit next to me here. So this is the Hogwarts sorting hat. Very important character in this segment. Okay, now we're set. Alright, so before any sorting happens, let's just cover the basics of what sorting is. And again, if you're familiar with the concept already, just skip ahead. This little intro is for those who may not be so familiar with Harry Potter. In the world of Harry Potter, young witches and wizards are sent to wizarding schools, the most famous of which is Hogwarts. And at Hogwarts, all new students are sorted into one of four houses: Ravenclaw, the indisputable queen of all houses, and of course the one I am in, Slytherin, Gryffindor, and Hufflepuff. Students are essentially sorted according to who they are at the core. Now, there have been intellectual civil wars fought over how exactly the hat sorts people and who should and shouldn't have been sorted into what house. I'm just going to stick with what's canonically known for the sake of this video, not blowing out to 15 hours. So, what does the sorting hat consider? Innate qualities are important, yes, but also the kinds of choices you make are equally, if not more, important. The famous case is Harry Potter, whom the hat originally said would accomplish great things in Slytherin, but ended up sorting Harry into Gryffindor because he chose it due to not wanting to be sorted into the same house as Voldemort, the big bad of Harry Potter, and also because most, if not all, truly evil witches and wizards came out of Slytherin. The hat also considers someone's deepest desires, their strengths, but also the potential that they're capable of. There's also a lot of symbolism that reveals a house's character in their house colors, the house mascots, the design of the different common rooms, and just the rich history that each house has. Now, humans are notoriously complex and multifaceted, and so any system that attempts to sort all of humanity into four neat boxes inevitably has to draw some really broad generalizations. And also within houses, there will be a diverse range of personalities and beliefs. So, what I'm going to do next is to outline very briefly the general character of each house. And as I go, I'll sort each of the K-On! Girls into the house I think they would have been sorted into if they lived in the Potterverse. So I'm going to start with the houses where, to me at least, it was pretty clear cut that a certain girl would fit, and there were three girls for whom that was the case. Now, for the other two, the wonderful thing about Hogwarts houses is that even though there are only four, sometimes when people really don't fit into just one house, you can be a hybrid. For example, Slitherclaws are Ravenclaws with some Slytherin in them, or Slytherin with some Ravenclaw. There are people who are Ravenpuffs, etc., etc. So you might be 50-50 or 60-40, two different houses. And so two K-On! Girls fell into that category, one of whom I actually found quite difficult to sort. I totally expect people to disagree with my sorting, given how crazy deep you can go into dissecting the different houses and different personalities. So bear in mind that what follows is purely my own opinion, even though I've tried to be as objective as possible. And of course, I would love to hear other opinions in the comments. All right, let's get this rolling. So we're going to start with Gryffindor, the most well-known house due to most of the major characters in Harry Potter being Gryffindors. So each house has certain descriptors attached to them, or certain strengths and weaknesses. Gryffindor is known for valuing bravery and courage and determination, and it says they're chivalry. So, in the sense that Gryffindors will do the right thing mostly because it's right, but also there's a sense that it's partly for the glory and the honor. In fact, the griffin in Gryffindor's name, so the part lion, part eagle mythical creature, has been associated with Christ. And so there's this idea of Gryffindors striving to be self sacrificial and to be their most virtuous selves. That is, when they are not too busy being arrogant at being so virtuous and so good. As you can see, Gryffindor's house colors are scarlet and gold. So the scarlet or the flaming red evokes fire. And so Gryffindors tend to be very passionate and ruled by their emotions. They often act first and then think later. So while this means that they're great in situations that require overcoming paralytic fear or overthinking, sometimes this means that they can take their daring a bit too far and be incredibly reckless. They also tend to think that rules don't really apply to them. And that is why the other houses, a Gryffindor's actions can border on dumb heroics. But where a Gryffindor really shines is when eventually they learn to channel all of that reckless energy into something positive. And I do wonder which K-On! Girl best fits that. The other house color, gold, partly reflects this desire to be the best and to win, and also to do things for like the sake of fun and for glory. So Gryffindors are stereotypically very charismatic and extroverted and enjoy being the center of attention. And again, at this stage, I already had a very clear idea of which K-On! Girl fit this. But gold also points to a heart of gold. So the door in Gryffindor has been said to reference d'or in French, which means of gold. And so friendships are critically important to Gryffindors, and that's also reflected in the way their common room is designed. It's very homey and warm and just kind of a place that fosters community. And lastly, and this was a point that really sealed the deal for me as to which girl was a Gryffindor, is the house mascot. So the house mascot is a lion. Not only does it symbolize fearless leadership and strength and courage, but a herd of lions is a pride. And so Gryffindors take real pride in the strength of their community or their group. They know that you achieve the best results when everyone is close and works together and shares the same vision. And so if it's not obvious yet as to who I sorted into Gryffindor, it was Yui. To me, she is like a solid Gryffindor. Okay, let me just move it there. It also so happens that her K-On! Color is also red, although the color matching doesn't really remain consistent for some of the other girls. But I really do see Yui as the beating heart of the group, the passionate, charismatic leader who, as we saw last episode, draws the group around herself and inspires them to be courageous and confident in their abilities as a band. She also just smothers the others in affection, particularly Azusa. There's also the whole reckless energy part. Yui really puts her foot in it sometimes. For example, joining a rock club without ever having touched a guitar in her life. Also promising to compete in the talent show during exams. And every time though, when Yui finally finds it in herself to channel that chaotic energy of hers towards a single purpose, and often it's for a reason driven by pure passion or compassion, she really shines and just blows everyone away. So yeah, Yui was an easy pick for Gryffindor. Okay, next we're gonna get into Slytherin, arguably the most misunderstood house due to its danky reputation, but they have produced some of the most powerful witches and wizards. Slytherin is also perennially set as an opposing force against Gryffindor, and that dynamic played really interestingly with who I ended up sorting into Slytherin. So, the word most associated with Slytherin is cunning. They are ruthless and single minded in the pursuit of their goals, and so can come across as being at best self interested and at worst really selfish. They will do whatever is necessary to achieve their goals. Slytherins are analytical and they're resourceful masters of strategy and manipulation. Unlike Gryffindors, who sort of charge straight at the problem, Slytherins tend to think around and through their problems. And at this point, it is not hard to think of one particular Kaelin girl who has that shrewdness and ambition about her in spades. There is more though. So Slytherin's house colors are green and silver, canonically associated with water. Their common room is literally a dungeon that looks out at the Hogwarts lake, and appropriately, water evokes adaptability and the ability to manipulate as needed. Green is an interesting color as well because there are good and bad associations with it. It is the color of envy and distrust, and also a concern with money that can sometimes go too far, which also again sounds familiar in the context of Kaon. However, green can also be associated with nature, with like growth and renewal. Now we see that duality in Slytherin's house mascot, the serpent. Again, the serpent reinforces Slytherin's tendencies towards cunning and deception. Think of the serpent in the Garden of Eden representing the devil, who is an opposing force to Christ, as symbolized by the griffin in Gryffindor. At the same time, the serpent is also a bit misunderstood and perhaps over-villainized. It's an animal full of contradictions. So, for example, its venom can be used to both poison but also to heal someone. So, depending on the context or the relationship they have with others, a Slytherin can either be someone who chooses to use their talents to harm or to fiercely protect. And often, when a Slytherin recognizes someone as their own, they become the most loyal of friends. Now, the girl who I think is the indisputable master of blackmailing and bribery and general manipulation is Ritsu. So, she is my Slytherin. With Sawako, for example, she alternates between blackmail and ordering Mugi to sweeten her up with expensive food. It was her ambition in the beginning that got the HTT club going, and on top of that, Ritsu also enjoys convincing people and seems to get immense satisfaction out of getting people to agree with her. Ritsu, as we've mentioned before, is also the one who grounds the other girls despite external appearances. So she's the one thinking about the club's finances, how to use Mio's fan club to rake in more cash, but all of that strategizing is ultimately for the benefit of the club. And so she looks out for the others in her own very shrewd and political and practical way. Sometimes, though, she does take things a bit too far. And especially when it comes to Mio, she has a certain possessiveness that is quite green. I'm thinking of that episode when she stalks Mio and Nautica out of this fear that Mio has found someone else to look after her. The other thing that convinces me that Ritsu is a Slytherin is her unique relationship with Yui. So Gryffindors and Slytherins are actually quite alike in that they share a desire for greatness. And this makes them very audacious, and they tend to be the alphas in their friendship groups. And we have definitely seen that play out. So Yui is like the spiritual or the emotional leader of the group, while Ritsu is the practical, street smart leader. And then together they dominate the HTT club. I think so far it's been a great co-leadership arrangement because Slytherin's more analytical and cunning nature acts as a really good balance for Gryffindor's impulsiveness. And the Slytherin Gryffindor dynamic also fits in well with their dumb and dumber shtick because both tend to like external validation and they get bored easily, and so they'll end up acting out or acting up when there's nothing really happening. So yeah, Ritsu definitely Slytherin, which brings us to Ravenclaw. Now there is a misconception as well about Ravenclaw that we're the smartest out of all the witches and wizards, but there are smart people in other houses. So while it's true that Ravenclaws often do well in school, what really distinguishes Ravenclaw is how much they value wisdom. So not smarts, but wisdom. And the difference is, while being smart means you know a lot of things, being wise is able to think independently and to keep an open mind to new ideas. It's being intensely curious and applying your intelligence not just to book smarts but to other areas in your life, including being emotionally intelligent. Ravenclaws also have a strong tradition of being non-conformist, maybe even a little bit odd. So my favorite Ravenclaw in Harry Potter is Luna Lovegood, who J.K. Rowling once said is likely to believe 10 impossible things before breakfast. And so Ravenclaws are imaginative, creative, they think of things others wouldn't or would find weird. And in thinking about who it is that writes the often esoteric lyrics of the songs in K-On!, that to me was a very strong indicator as to who the Ravenclaw is. But moving on, due to this tendency to have our head in the clouds, Ravenclaws very much enjoy solitude and the space to think. And while some of us may not have the best social skills, we really enjoy learning and sharing knowledge with others. Again, thinking of who most likely enjoys quiet introspection on a regular basis helped narrow down the Ravenclaw in K-On! So Ravenclaw's house colors are blue and bronze, which evoke the sky. And so accordingly, the Ravenclaw common room is up high in a high tower filled with books and a domed ceiling full of stars. The Ravenclaw mascot is the eagle, again symbolizing an independent spirit and the fact that nothing matters more to a Ravenclaw than freedom, including the freedom to learn and to develop and to express themselves in their own way. And finally, blue is the color associated with serenity and calmness, as well as a certain prestige. And so putting all of that together with creativity and the higher levels of intelligence, I had to claim Mia for Ravenclaw. Okay. And I mean, I can defend my decision. So I think Mia's quietness and calmness and her sensibility belies this wild spirit, one that expresses itself much better through lyrics and music and poetry, really. So remember at the Mio fan club tea party, Mio pulls out some lyrics that she then reads to everyone, and no one gets it. But there's clearly genius in those lyrics because they are a huge part of what makes HTT so awesome. Mia also possesses a pretty out there imagination to be able to constantly conjure up horror scenarios out of the most normal things. She is also the only HTT girl with a fan club bearing her name, which ticks the prestige box. And the icing on top is that blue also happens to be Mia's color. However, Mia doesn't strike me as having the common Ravenclaw weakness of being slightly arrogant about their perceived intellectual superiority. If anything, she's more the kind of Ravenclaw that in certain situations becomes so untethered from reality that she needs her friends to remind them where the ground is. Also, unlike Gryffindor Yui and Slytherin Ritsu, who go all out once an idea takes root in their minds, Mia is more the type to weigh all the different options carefully, which can be a wise approach, but it also can mean she holds back more than she needs to. So speaking of Ritsu, the other piece that makes me comfortable with sorting Mia into Ravenclaw is that the typical relationship between a Ravenclaw and a Slytherin is such that the ambitious Slytherin is usually the one pushing the more complacent Ravenclaw to succeed in areas that they're not naturally comfortable in. For example, while a Ravenclaw would be totally content to have achieved some kind of personal or private victory, a Slytherin would want that victory publicly acknowledged. And all the ways in which Ritsu has helped nudge Mia out of her shell, like when she helped Mia overcome her fear of reading her award-winning essay to the rest of the school, it fits that dynamic so well. So with Mia as our 100% Ravenclaw, that leaves us with just one house to go and two girls left to sort, both of whom I concluded in the end are our hybrids. Now, you might think I'm being kind of selfish with my choices because I do think that both Mugi and Azusa are part Ravenclaw. More specifically, Mugi is a straightforward Ravenpuff for me, so half Ravenclaw and half Hufflepuff. So let's just put it there. Now, Azusa was the one that I struggled more with sorting, but in the end, I placed her as a Slitherclaw, part Ravenclaw, part Slytherin. And I can't split her into two. That would be too cruel. So I'm going to put her here next to Ritsu, but just keep in mind that Azusa is not fully Slytherin. She's also partly Ravenclaw. Okay, so let's start with Mugi's Ravenclaw side, and then I'll give the explainer for what makes a Hufflepuff a Hufflepuff and why Mugi is also definitely part Puff. So for Mugi, it's hard to look past her very Ravenclaw side. She is equally book smart and emotionally intelligent, but the true determinant was the fact that she dominates the head in the clouds category. She lives and breathes fantasy, whether that's Yuri fantasy or plebeian life fantasy, and she's constantly exploring new ideas and has that eternal curiosity about things unknown. There's also this joy that sparks in her eyes whenever she discovers something new. That is a hardcore Ravenclaw trait, and I'm very happy that we have at least half of Mugi in our house. She actually gives me major Luna Lovegood vibes, and I also feel she brings the calmness to HTT, not just through her tea and cakes, but also even when she's wilding out with Ritsu or Yui or both. She does it in a very different, more understated way. And I think it just comes back to that quickness to adapt and roll with whatever. Unfortunately, I couldn't 100% claim Mugi as a Ravenclaw, even though I really wanted to, because I think she also has equally strong Hufflepuff traits. So, okay, let's have a look at Hufflepuff, our last but not least house. And I emphasize not least because in the past, Hufflepuff has had a bad rap for being the house where all the leftover people go. Like, you just have to be nice and not particularly smart or brave or ambitious, which couldn't be further from the truth. The key defining values for Hufflepuffs are loyalty and integrity, as well as just an innate tendency towards decency. Hufflepuffs strive for fairness and justice, even if they're not rewarded for it. So, unlike Gryffindors, who also value doing the right thing but do enjoy receiving praise for it, Hufflepuffs do the right thing just because, and they're genuinely humble about it. They are patient, honest, hardworking, trustworthy. Insert all the good words here. They're also very fierce friends and incredibly compassionate. So the Rock is a really famous Hufflepuff, as is Sam from Lord of the Rings and Samuel Tarly in Game of Thrones. So they tend to be these like best friend supportive types. And a big part of why Mugi is at least half Hufflepuff is because to me, she's someone who has so much to brag about or be proud of, and rightfully so, or given her position in life and her connections, she's probably initially the most well placed out of all the girls to go on to rule the world. Or I don't know, at the very least, rule Japan. But she's not about any of that. She's incredibly humble and just wants to fit in and support and feed her friends and to just enjoy life where she is. Speaking of food, the Hufflepuff common room is actually a cozy, understated room near the Hogwarts kitchens. And Helga Hufflepuff, the founder of the house, specialized in food charms. And so there is that literal connection to Mugi and her food, as well as the deeper symbolism of the fact that Hufflepuffs, like Mugi, just want to enjoy life's simple pleasures. Hufflepuff's house colors are yellow and black, both of which fit Mugi really well. So, yellow is associated with warmth, happiness, and playfulness. And if you think of the yellow brick road, which is a common symbol for the path of virtue, it reflects Hufflepuff's ethos of being kind for the sake of being kind, which again is how I think Mugi approaches life and people. The interesting thing is that out of all four houses, Hufflepuff is the only house without a metallic house color. So black implies understatement and a distinct lack of a need to shine or to be recognized or achieve something great, whether that be knowledge-wise or worldly-wise. Again, Mugi's habit of happily being in the background and just enjoying the company of her friends fits that model of contentment. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. And finally, the Hufflepuff mascot is a badger. So again, compared to the other three houses, Ravenclaw's eagle of the skies and Gryffindor's lion, the king of the animals, and Slytherin's devious serpent, badgers seem relatively tame and understated, but actually in nature, they are surprisingly fierce and protective. They also live underground, symbolizing how Hufflepuffs understand that it's the deeper things that matter, not the surfacey, materialistic stuff. And so there's the sweet irony in that Mugi was born into great wealth, but she is almost oblivious or uninterested in her family background and how all of the advantages she's been born with could help her achieve even greater things. So none of that matters to her. What matters is her desire to be a pleb and to be treated as one, which reveals this deeper, very Hufflepuff belief that everyone should be treated equally, including herself. One final piece in my case for Mugi being a Ravenpuff is the interesting dynamic developing between Yui and Mugi. So notwithstanding how Yui may just have some spark of Ravenclaw in her in terms of her very independent and unconventional thinking, Gryffindors and Hufflepuffs are widely considered to be the most compatible of inter-house matches, and it really doesn't take much effort for them to click. So Gryffindors are passionate while Hufflepuffs are kind, but both are fiercely loyal. Both value doing the right thing, even if they go about it differently, and there's some interesting parallels between the Yellow Brick Road and the golden paths of virtue that appear in ancient texts. Due to these very similar shared values, often Gryffindors and Hufflepuffs just understand each other without really having to communicate much, which is precisely what I love about the Yui Mugi dynamic, in that they effortlessly feed into each other's energy while the others kind of just look on and shake their heads because they have no idea what's going on. Another thing is Gryffindors love being praised, and due to their giving nature, Hufflepuffs love giving it. We saw that work really well in the episode where Yui decides to do the talent competition on her own, and Mugi is right there next to her, like grasping her hands and praising and pledging to support her. Unfortunately for Yui, it takes a lot more to get compliments out of Azusa, not that she doesn't try. Which takes us to the final girl. Oh man, Azusa was a tough one, and probably the girl I'm least confident about having sorted correctly. I will do my best though. So I did have to start with the process of elimination. I don't think she's a Gryffindor, and that she's too level-headed, more logic-driven, and too much of a thinker. I don't see her in Hufflepuff either, not because she's not kind and humble and all of that. Like, let's be honest, all of the girls are kind in their own ways. But I think she has too much Ravenclaw and surprisingly Slytherin in her, hence Azusa being our resident Slytherclaw. So to start with, the Ravenclaw part of Azusa is less the head in the clouds aspect, but more the just loving to learn and sharing that learning with others. For example, not only is she amazing at the guitar, probably through a combination of pure talent and also a lot of hard work, but she also very readily shares her knowledge and tips on music with Yui as well as the other girls in her year. She is like the resident, let's practice, why don't we practice more girl in the HTT club? And I feel that stems from her desire to hone to perfection whatever she's chosen to pursue. But it is nice that she's learned to relax a bit under the influence of the other girls. Like Mio, she is more introspective and brings her quiet sensibility to the group. However, there is a side to her that is surprisingly Slytherin. And there's a couple of things that make me think that as the girl who carries the sanity of the entire HTT club on her back, it makes sense that Azusa is the most analytical one, which is a key Slytherin trait. She constantly surprises Mio by siding with the other three girls sometimes when they come up with these crazy ideas that Mio is super against. And so she's very water-like and shrewd in that way, and that she will switch and adapt quite quickly and naturally depending on what the goal is. Also, remember when she, for a precious few seconds, instinctively imagines herself to be the future president of the HTT club when they're talking about what will happen once the older girls have graduated? So the girl has some pretty big ambitions, and good on her for having those. And of course, I think the ultimate Slytherin tell is the way she handles Yui. It just really shows that she will do whatever is necessary to get the job done. Even if it means physically dragging Yui to the library and forcing Yui to stick to a very tough schedule of study and practice. Interestingly, there's also that great Slytherin Gryffindor dynamic at play where both Yui and Azusa highly value being great at guitar. It's just that Yui goes at it in a more carefree, rely on her natural talent kind of way, while Azusa seems to be the type to work her ass off, even though she arguably has just as much talent. And I'm reminded of when Azusa first discovers just how good Yui is. She's a little bit dumbstruck because she can't believe someone can be so talented with such little experience. It reminds me a lot of how in Harry Potter, Slytherins tend to have this feeling that Gryffindors rely too much on dumb luck. And in the books, it's a little bit true because Gryffindors get a ridiculous amount of free points from professors. They often happen to be in the right place at the right time, and so get all of the glory that comes with that. And with Azusa to Yui, there's definitely a bit of that, wow, I cannot believe how naturally good she is, but with none of the toxicity and all of the goodness of we can really learn a lot from each other and help each other become the best guitarists that we can be. So there we have it, our K-On! Girls sorted into their Hogwarts houses. Thank you for sitting through all of that. I had a blast thinking through all of the different possibilities, and I'm sure there are other combinations that would make just as much sense. So if you are so inclined, I would love to hear whether you agree or disagree or how you would adjust the sorting. All right, that is it for this week. No, we actually still have to watch 2 episodes, which is crazy. Okay, if you guys are ready to go, let's get to episode 13 in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, so we're still in summer. Oh, she's writing to her senpais. Wait, is she writing just to Yui or to all of them? Here's what's gonna happen. Yui is gonna text her while she's still drafting this. No? Thank you. Did they all leave her behind again? Oh, this is so cute. I love how concerned Azusa is, particularly with Yui. She's kind of at sea without them, like last time when they went on that trip, school trip. Nice. So we get another Azusa episode. Oh, and thank you for letting me know that this is going to be the last time we get to watch this opening. She's the heart, singing about the heart. Here's our Ravenclaw, our Ravenpuff, and our Slitherclaw. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with my choices. That rainbow. Nice. I love how Yui just kind of hangs in the air for a few seconds. Not a car. Also a best girl. God damn it, I love this show so much. Who would have thunk it? And more ooey as well. Nice. The true Gryffindor. Oh, so they're not away somewhere. They're just studying over the summer holidays. It looks so good. She's thinking this senpai is so weird and I love her so much. She's eating while she's playing her guitar. Wait, what's happening? Wait, why can't you eat tempura with watermelon? Is this a nightmare? She's even dreaming about Yui. Oh my goodness. The tan. She's being very cat-like here. Junzong. Oh, I do want to see the jazz club. Sawako? Why is it just her? I see. Uh, Ui is completely aware of Sawako's dark side, though. Oh, is that how you learn Japanese? Like you repeat those syllables? I was gonna say this episode is so. Yeah, totally feels like the lull of a really hot summer. Oh, she's thinking about recruiting again. I was gonna say, should have taken meal. Oh my goodness, it was meal. Wait, is this another dream? There's no way that's meal. I think her brain is just broken. But why is she there in the first place? Okay, alright. So this is Azusa missing her senpai so much that she is having these fantastical nightmares about them. Gotcha. That's cute. So there's no Yui and there's no Junchan. No wonder why it's so quiet. Late summer greeting text. So that's a thing. Okay, the more I see of Azusa, the more I could definitely see her Slitherclaw side. Oh, it's so cute. Their little work uniforms. Okay, she's gonna dream about Mugi. I wonder. Okay, How is this gonna pan out? Yep, that sounds about right. She's gonna win the trip to Finland and be very disappointed. Oh. uh she cannot escape her senpais. Even in their absences, they haunt her dreams. Yeah, she should have. Oh no, that's the worst. Oh, poor Azusa. I mean, at least it's an original look. That looks terrifying. What? Wait a sec. Why is she imagining Ritsu in a fast food outfit? I mean, her obsession with money and needing money to survive. What? This is so crazy. Is there some deep symbolism that I'm missing about going down water slides with yakisoba on your head? Damn, she really needs the other girls. She's like, no, no yakisoba. Whoa, man, how is she gonna survive when they do actually graduate? Should I stop talking about your senpais? It's all nepotism. Azusa is totally gloating about how great her senpais are. She's tough ass. This is not a dream. Not a dream. Not that she's making any move to stop Yui from sniffing her. Again, it just feels so much better when they're actually together. I love Mugi so much. It's meant to be charred though, I think. Yeah. It's so nice. Of course, she has a little mirror just conveniently there. Oh no, don't be sad, Azusa. Oh my god. Why is this so emotional? It's like she can't believe that they're actually here with her. But there's gonna be a day when they're really not gonna be there. Oh, like later or now? Oh, okay. Oh, so I guess the HTT club will be these three girls when the other girls leave. Okay, at least she kind of sort of recruited new members as backup. Oh man, I do love how they used the plot of the dream to emphasize how amazing this experience of being in the HTT club has been for her. Detected. She only starts to feel sick as soon as she reads about it. Oh, here we go. Last time. I don't know. They tend to emphasize strawberries a lot. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. See, I feel like this feature Mio is when Mio kind of learns over time to let herself go and just sort of let her more individual side out more. I love this bit. Like the just going down the scale, the minor scale. And the wink. Hey, nice. Okay. That brings us to episode 14. The episode. I have no idea why. Okay, guys, we are ready for episode 14 Summer Training. Okay, again, doesn't give me much clue as to why there's so much hype surrounding this episode, but I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So, if you guys are ready to play this, let's do it in 3, 2, 1, go. Ritsu. It is a Mitsu-centric episode. A Mitsu date. They're such an old married couple, man. Which is more important? Oh. Oh, Ritsu. She knows she can push those buttons. Oh, that was the obvious gag? Okay. I wonder what the non-obvious ones are. Oh, it's the Ritsu Mugi episode! Wait, is it? Wait. If it is, I have been waiting for this my whole life. She's so proud of herself. Oh, second choice, but still. Oh, English. That was cute. Yeah? Wait, is she calling like a personal shopper or something to cancel? New OP. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Ah, the trill. And we get Mugi's seal. Okay, very similar in hype to the last OP. Oh, thank God for Mugi's base. What is that? Da-da-da-da. They do not make these songs easy for Yui's VA to sing. And again, of the strawberries. Man, that guitar, I think it's Azusa, is going really hard. The da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, the hugs. Oh, the. I love this episode already, and we haven't even started. Oh, that's right. Wait, is Yui dreaming this again? Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god, protractors? Yui's mind is scary. Well, she is actually studying with Nodoka. Oh, it is. Oh my goodness. It is the first time these two have been alone together. And because Ritsu is like the street smart kid, the king of plebs. I love how she grasps the hands and she's so excited and so passionate about it. There's no way she's not been to one of these before. Like a chandelier. Her voice, how high it goes, is so adorable. And her, like, the blush in her cheeks. Oh my god. Mickey's gonna break it for sure. Oh no. Okay, Ritsu's gonna do it for her. Reputation's on the line here. There we go. And now Ritsu is Mugi's hero. Oh my god, Ritsu. Oh, I'm gonna die. She sounds so happy that she's a pig. Looks more expensive. Looks like every other cake that Mugi brings. Oh, Ritsu. Yes, that's very likely. What? What was that? What? Oh, it's like a dollar store? Oh, okay, a 20-cent store? Oh, this is heaven for Mugi. Just fulfilling all these dreams on the same day. No wonder why she's gonna die of happiness tomorrow. the little, the run towards Ritsu. Sugoi. So simple, but so sweet. Oh, that was smooth, Ritsu. Oh, these little tips. I do not mind this ship at all. Yeah. Oh, she's pissed. Poor Nodoka. I love that Yui called Azusa right away. It's hard, it's very soul. That face on Azusa's face. Keeps prosecuting a case. Oh my god, Yui's not gonna let that go. Says the girl who goes to Finland on a regular basis. I can't stop smiling. My cheeks hurt. The master of having fun without money. Did you just say the common masses? Again. Slap. I know. Oh, Mugi. Okay. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, this is being very serious all of a sudden. Oh, I'm Ritsu. What the? That's me. What is going on? Wait, she wants to be whacked on the head? She always does that. Okay, but I want to know about this whole whacking business. What is going on? Is Mugi jealous of Ritsu and Mio? Wait, what? No one's wearing uniforms. Poor Mio. That's Mio's nightmare. She's asking for it. Beachwear? No, Yui. Wait, what was that? Was that little glance towards Mio? What? Don't tell me she did it on purpose? Wait, what? She is doing it on purpose. She wants the whack from Mia. Oh my god. Mugi. I called them up before. That's not gonna do it. Says the expert. Oh my god. Okay, Yui. Oh no. Ritsu, help her. You gotta help your best girl out. She's like, do you need to go to the doctor? I feel like I'm in a fever dream. This. Don't take notes. But why? Oh. Oh. She is. She has been left out. Oh my goodness. Her Hufflepuff, man. Her Hufflepuff side is really playing up. Oh. Cute. Oh. Okay. I wonder if Yui is dyslexic. Oh, she can't help it. She's just too perfect. There we go. It doesn't really matter. Yep, you can't beat fresh tits. I don't know. I'd feel like Mia would just never. It's not in her universe to whack Mugi. Yeah. It's their dynamic is just not that. I really hope Mugi does succeed though. Oh, she looks so sad. Oh no. I think I know what's gonna happen. Ritsu, she's a great friend, still trying to help Mugi get her head whack. But Mugi's gonna accidentally win this, isn't she? Oh no, oh no. Is she gonna get it? Oh no. Oh no, she's not heartbroken, she's literally broken. Oh no, Mugi. It's the end of the best girls. Okay, so Mia knows now. She can't do it now though. What? A love tap. Okay, I guess that's another way to put it. Again, I don't know what that is. Must be some kind of saying. It's not gonna work. It's gotta be spontaneous. The breathing. Oh my god. This episode is a killer. But she didn't get her head whack. It's such a weird dream, but a dream nonetheless. I love these two. Eh? I mean, well, she doesn't have to be a boy, she already has girls after her. She got it from Ritsu. Oh my god. Also, I have a feeling that Mitsu talk on the phone every single day and night. Is Mia gonna get jealous? She is. But she did. Well, I mean, you can't win against your wife. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh my god, I can't. My heart can't keep up with all of this chaos goodness. It's black and white. Whoa. Wow, this has to be the grungiest ending yet. I love them in hoodies. Again, Mio's VA's voice just so suits these kinds of songs. Ritsu's so cool with the single-handed snaring. Oh wow. It's so moody. Like with the graffiti. No, thank you. Oh, I love that opening into the sky. Oh my god. I just I don't know, that Edie, I feel like okay, it's still really early to tell, but I have a feeling it's going to be my favorite ending out of the three that we did get. Um I just love the grunginess of it and the texture of the backgrounds that they use, like the dilapidated walls and the graffiti and all of that stuff. Oh man, that was so good. Episode 14. I get it now. I see what you guys did. And you're right. I think it's gonna be, if not amongst my top three, no, definitely amongst my top three episodes, possibly even my most favorite episode out of all of the K-On! Episodes, which is saying a lot. Okay, let's close this first. First of all, I have to say how proud I am of you guys for knowing me so well. Knowing that episode 14 would be one of my favorites, if not my new favorite episode. I my cheeks are still excessively sore from all the smiling that I was doing throughout that entire episode. And of course, the previous episode as well, which, okay, let's talk about episode 13 first, which was also great in its own right and which revisited that sad theme that's been hanging in the background since the beginning of season 2, which is the impending graduation of the older girls. It was so palpable how the four girls have been completely integrated into Azusa's heart, mind, and soul. The way that she dreams about them when they're not there in detail and in a way that emphasizes each of their really unique, quirky sides, as well as the way that she goes on and on and on about how great they are to Jun and Ui is really adorable. My absolute favorite part, though, is when at the end they all reunite and Azusa is just looking at them, doing their usual thing of bantering back and forth and paying each other out, of Ritsu triggering Mia, and Azusa is just smiling. It really brings home how they have become her home in a way. My other absolute favorite part, okay, so I have two absolute favorite parts, was when Yui is holding out her hand for Azusa to come join them to see the fireworks. And for some reason, Azusa is kind of holding back. And I think there was a lot in those few suspended seconds where you can have several different equally good guesses as to what's going on through Azusa's mind. I think it was partly she was reflecting on how much of a relief it is to have these girls with her, but also partly being sad over the fact that this won't last forever. And also partly just reflecting that she really needs to cherish the time she does have left with her senpais. And then that scene just ends with Yui grabbing Azusa's hand, which I feel was quite symbolic in that Yui is a very live in the moment kind of girl, and her forwardness and her carefreeness is a really important lesson for Azusa to likewise just live in the moment and to enjoy what's right in front of her. Again, which is a lesson that has been consistent all the way throughout season 2. Okay, episode 14. The episode that, yes, I have been waiting for, the one that fills in that crucial gap in the K-On! Character web of the dynamic between Mugi and Ritsu. But it's so much more than that, and here's my take on why I think that episode is possibly the best ever. They have been setting up episode 14 since the very, very beginning. And I'm talking since like season 1, episode 1. You know the movie Now You See Me about the magicians? So in that movie, they talk about this magic trick where a magician gets someone to sign a card and then plants a tree around that card, and 20 years later they do the same trick to the same person, and voila, the card is inside the tree. My point is, episode 14 made me feel that kind of like meticulously planned out and set up magic. So cast your minds back to the very first episode where you see the original reason why Mugi decided to join HTT in the first place. And that was because she saw the connection that Mio and Ritsu have. So the way that they play fight with each other, seeing Mio yell at Ritsu out of this place of intense familiarity and of being so comfortable with each other. And also, from then onwards, almost in every single episode, there have been many, many, many bonks to the head, to the point where Mio whacking Ritsu has become part of the furniture of their relationship and of their affection towards each other. And then, of course, with Yui and Azusa, it started pretty much from the moment they met as well, with Yui just smothering Azusa in a very different but a very similar kind of love. And to have that all culminate in episode 14 of season 2, for the K-On! Writers to be so patient in their storytelling, sometimes it was like, drip feeding us in tiny details, this sort of physical affection between the different pairs. Occasionally it was entire episodes devoted to showing just how much Mitsu or Yuiazu love each other, to finally reach a point when Mugi says it explicitly, that she wants what they have, that this intimacy that expresses itself quite physically. So it's such a rare line of explicit telling in K-On! Where one character says what the relationships of the other characters are like, because much more often K-On! Is more about storytelling through more subtle, implicit details. But it is so earned and so satisfying to hear Mugi say it out loud in this episode, because it's been preceded by so many episodes of subtle and consistent characterization, just layers upon layers upon interlocking layers of fleshing out of the relationships that these girls have with each other. I've said in replies to some of your comments that I regret not discovering K-On! Sooner, and I guess the general genre of anime that it fits into, and better late than never, but it's actually kind of scary to think of if I'd never been pushed to this lane and just kind of carried over my overwhelming preference for high fantasy and political dramas or sci-fi over into anime. So it's been 12 years since K-On! Was first released, and I'm just discovering it now, and I honestly feel like people will keep discovering it years from now too. And on a more somber note, so KyoAni is a studio that has suffered such incomprehensible tragedy, and that's not even getting to the exponential personal tragedies of the friends and family members who actually knew and loved the Keone stuff. And nothing will ever erase that, the pain of everything that happened. At the same time, I do genuinely feel like the talents who worked on K-On, that they've achieved a kind of artistic immortality by producing art that is so true to the best of human nature and of human relationships. And personally, I think that's the best kind of art, the kind that reminds us that we are all human and that we all benefit when we see each other as human. And I'm just so in awe of them being able to accomplish that through K-On. Anyway, I have so many thoughts to say about the episode, particularly what I feel is the iconic moment when Mugi steals Mia's strawberry and Mia is so shocked that it's Mugi who betrays her that she can't even respond. But I'm going to have to leave it till next time because I do have a meeting to go to. And really, I'm just looking forward more so to nerding out with you guys in the comments. So once again, thank you guys for sharing your love of K-On with me, and please do have a really good rest of the week. Until next time, guys, take care.